sourcing guidelines. What you have to do to make as much money as possible sourcing products online. The first key is to save money. You want to make as much as you can. Therefore, you have to buy quality inventory only. Do not buy anything that's likely to break, because if it breaks, you will get a lot of refunds, and you definitely don't want that. Products to get. You get quality items and high price items. The reason you want to get the higher price items is that you'll be able to sell them for a lot more money. You have to remember that if you sell hundreds of items that are very cheap, your way to break even will take a long time, versus if you sell a few expensive items. You'll get higher margins and you'll get more money. The margins. Always look for the best profits possible in whatever you're buying. The more likely this is the product you want to get. Avoid quantity. Look for quality items only. Primary sourcing. This is where you start. When you're just gonna start an Amazon FBA business, I suggest you start selling anything that you don't need around your house. Ask friends for stuff to sell, especially for stuff that you're selling on eBay. The reason you want to do this is it's much easier to make money with stuff you have around. You already paid for them, so you don't have to pay for anything additional now. You will see if this business works for you as well, and you're already going to have money to invest in the business itself too. The next thing you want to look for is retail stores. In retail stores, find quality items that are on large discount. Make sure you check the refund policy, because if you can't give the item back, or the return policy is only 7 days, you'll be stuck with this item, and what happens if you can't sell it? When you're going to retail stores and you're buying stuff to sell on eBay or Amazon FBA, do not buy a huge lot of them, especially when you're beginning. Buy a few items, test them out, see if this works. If it doesn't, you can always give them back. And do not abuse the refund policy as well. Which means, if you're buying something to resell, make sure you do your research and make sure you'll be able to sell it before you actually are going to buy it. Plus, it's a waste of time for you. Thrifting and Craigslist. This is a hit or miss. And the bad thing about thrifting and Craigslist, there is no refunds. But the reward here is much higher, as well as the risk. A lot of times when I go and try to buy stuff on thrifting or Craigslist or on garage sales, I can get a very decent item that's going to be selling for a lot more. My goal is to get something for $1 or less and try to make around 20 or 50 bucks out of it. That's my goal, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I have to spend $20 on a bunch of merchandise, and some of it sells very good and a lot of it becomes really junk. So you never know what's going to sell for a lot more money, and it's going to take you a lot of experience or learn and study before you're actually going to go and buy stuff on thrifting or Craigslist. And I also have a class for you that you can take, which will teach you things that you need to look for on Craigslist that you can really buy and resell for a lot more money too. So with the higher risk, you also get a lot bigger reward. So keep that in mind. With business, the more risk you put, the more likely you get a higher reward out there. So if you play it very safe with business, it's very unlikely you'll make the large amount of money. People who made a lot of money in business usually take risk, and educated one as well. The next source for you is retail sourcing, and the number one place for you to look for is online stores such as eBay, Amazon, and any other store out there that sells merchandise online. What you look for is bargains, things that are selling for a lot less than they should, sometimes on Thanksgiving, special holidays, or they're on large sale. You buy those items and then you resell them either back on Amazon or eBay, or you resell them in your own e-commerce store. It's up to you where you resell them, but you have to buy at a certain time and then resell it again. In online stores, you can return the items, but it's not really suggested here. A lot of times you can just sell it back for a lot more money. But you have to really do your a lot of studies and make sure to compare the prices, because online you can always compare prices. There is no need for you to rush and buy something. This way you know if this item is going to sell for a lot more before you actually are buying it. Catalog orders. This is a little bit different than online stores. There's actually catalogs that you can order, and some of them are online too. Those catalogs do have quality items, and you can sell them for a large profit. Some of them have a large margins too. You have to look for interesting catalogs and then try to make your own niche. And when you make your own niche, you'll have people who come back to you. So if you're selling a bunch of surfboards and anything to do with surfing, you definitely are in a different market niche. And if you're selling anything related to it, people are willing to pay a higher price for buying something from your store. Wholesale websites. This is the last location that I would be looking for, but this is the most profitable one too. Get a sample to test out those items, because with wholesale websites you have to buy a huge quality and quantity of the particular product you'll be selling. Therefore, you want to get as large discount as you can on it. And the best thing for you to do is to get a free sample if you can, or pay a very small amount for it so you can test the market and see if this product actually sells and for how much it will sell and make money for you before you actually buy a huge amount of it and then end up with a huge amount of items that potentially will never be selling.